Hello stampers and crafters, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah McGuire from Sassy Paper Crafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today's card is this one. How cute is this? We are going to be using the Level Complete stamp set along with the Stargazing Designer Series paper to make this super cute card perfect for a kid's birthday. So if you want to see how to make this card, please keep watching. So to start our card, we're going to start with stamping. I'm using the Level Complete stamp set from Stampin' Up. This has 12 cling stamps in it, and we're going to be using 4 of them. We're going to be using this controller here, the Happy Birthday, Leveled Up, and these shapes here. Now these are similar to what you would find on like a game console controller. So we're going to start with our stamping, but we're going to do a little bit of heat embossing first. So let me move that out of the way and pull in. This is the Embossing Additions kit. So it comes with this cool paintbrush that you can use to brush away all the powder that I have stuck in my tray. It comes with the tray, these really cool tweezers that you push to open, and an embossing buddy. Separately, you'll need a Versamark watermark ink pad and some white Stampin' Emboss powder, which comes in the basics pack. So you'll get white, clear, and black all in one pack. So let's grab our cardstock. I just have some random scraps of basic black cardstock. I'm going to take my embossing buddy. Now don't do this super hard because this is powder. This is black. It will stick if you just kind of slam it on there. I'm going to very gently go over my cardstock. Now what this is going to do is get rid of any static that's on the cardstock, so that way my embossing powder sticks to the Versamark where I want it to stick and not random bits of cardstock. So I'm going to grab my stamps, have our controller, and then the Leveled Up stamp. I'm going to take my Versamark. We're going to do the controller first. I'm not pushing super hard. I'm just tap, tap, tap on the stamp, inking that up, making sure I get good even coverage. And then this bigger piece of cardstock, I'm going to stamp it right on there like that. You're not going to be able to see that. It is a clear ink pad. So I'm going to do the same thing on the Leveled Up stamp. Just tap, tap, tap. And then on this smaller piece, I'm going to go right about there. And again, you probably can't see that. So I'm going to take the things out of my tray, put these into my tray. And I like to kind of leave them on the edge a little bit so it's easier for me to pick up. But I'm just going to sprinkle with a little bit of the white emboss powder. Kind of tap off the excess. Make sure I get that covered good. Looks good to me. We're going to set that one aside. And then I kind of try to like to go back into the little container, but if you don't, it's fine. Tap, tap, tap. Make sure I get that good and covered. And see, there's a little bit stuck up there, but that's okay because we are die cutting this one out. So I'm going to set that aside. And now I can take my tray and pour my excess powder right back in, and I can take my brush, go along my tray, and just get all of that powder right back into the container so I can use it next time. These jars of powder last seriously forever. They last for such a long time. Put the lid back on there and make sure I don't have powder on my grid paper. Now we can heat emboss these. So I have my heat tool here. There are 2 settings on the heat tool, setting 1 and 2. Well, there's 3 actually. 0 means it's off. And then setting 1 and 2. I'm going to heat these on setting 2. I'm going to hold them with my tweezers so I don't burn my hands. Now, normally I'll bring this up to the camera. You can see the magic. I want to make sure I get this really good. So I'm going to do this how I normally do it. And I'm just going to hold it down. I hope you can see it. If not, you'll just have to start heat embossing for yourself and see the magic in person. So this went from a powder to a nice white glossy image. I'll show you this one, how it's super powdery. We're going to do the same thing for the sentiment. And now we have a nice shiny glossy image, well, sentiment. And we're going to die cut that using the Stylish Shapes dies, which I have right here. These dies are an essential to me. I love them so much. You get some squares, circles, and these cool banners. I'm going to use this banner here to die cut our card, and then I'm going to show you how to cut out the controller. So I die cut our banner, and while I was at it, I went ahead and embossed our background panel using the Stripes and Splatters 3D embossing folders. I used the stripes one. Now you'll notice that this is smaller than the cardstock. So how did I do it? When I ran it through the standard Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you do need the big machine to do this technique. I set it all the way over as far as it would go and ran it through. Now when it came out, I took it and flipped this around and just put the part that wasn't embossed in there. It works really well with this design because it's kind of like a scattered design, and this is just as wide as the machine, so it just fits going through the machine. So if you have these smaller embossing folders and want to try it on a standard background piece and you have the big Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, it will work. These are made to go through the mini. So if you have the mini, you can use them, but you can't do this particular technique with them. I hope that made sense. So now for our controller, we are going to fussy cut this. And this is pretty easy to fussy cut. It's got some rounded lines. My big tip for fussy cutting is to move the paper, not your scissors. So I'm going to fussy cut this, and then we can put our card together. So I have our piece all fussy cut out. Now I'm not the best fussy cutter. It's not perfect, but I think I did a pretty good job there, and I didn't emboss the complete bottom of that controller, but that's okay. You can see some of the powder is coming off. It's still good on there. So that's why I mean you want to make sure you're embossing the whole thing. I missed a little spot, but I think that's okay. Now we have to stamp the inside of our card. I have a piece of basic white here. Now all the measurements for this card and all the supplies I used are on my blog. The link is the first link in the description of this video. I'm just grabbing my Memento ink. You can use StazOn, whatever black ink you have. We're going to ink up the happy birthday stamp. Just tap, tap, tap. I'm going to line this up with my grid paper just so I can get it as centered as I can. Straight down, straight up. And then we're going to do the same thing with the little shapes here and just kind of go into the corner. Just like that. So now we can put our card together. I'm going to set my stamps aside. And again, I'm using the Stargazing Designer Series paper. This is on page 86 of your annual catalog. If you don't have an annual catalog, there is a link in the description of this video to get a catalog from me. This paper is beautiful. It's very galactic. I thought it went really well with this stamp set, so that's why I'm using it. I'm going to take our basic black card base and some liquid glue, because I'm going to put this piece onto our embossed panel, and I want to get it just right because it is just as long as that piece, or just as wide, I guess I should say. And we're going to put it right down at the bottom. And this layout really could work for any cardstock, designer series paper, any stamp sets you have. I do just like the layout in general. Then I'm going to take our other piece, and I like the liquid glue on embossed backgrounds just because it gets into all those little nooks and crannies. I'm going to set that just like that. And now we can put it on our card base. And you can use seal if that's what you have. I just grabbed the liquid glue. I don't feel like I use this enough, and like I said, it does get in there and really sticks to the cardstock, which I like. Set that on our card base. Just like that. Now for the inside panel, I am going to use Stampin' Seal because that is what I prefer. Especially for the insides. I find sometimes if you use too thick of a line of that liquid glue for an inside piece and you go to write on this, it can get bumpy. So I just like the Stampin' Seal. put that on the inside, and then I'm going to grab a few Stampin' Dimensionals. We'll do 3 to make sure that's really hunkered down there. And I'm just going to go into that bottom corner. I kind of don't want to hide that planet too much because I like the rings and how it's coming out. And then I'm going to take another 2 dimensionals, and be careful with this because these just fit on there. You can use mini dimensionals too if you have those. Let's see, I'm going to put this in a little bit of a different spot, kind of like up a little, just because I want those planets to poke through there. Put the cap on that so I don't accidentally squeeze it. Now I have some of the classic matte dots. We're going to use these basic white ones up at the top. And I'm just going to, I thought they kind of reminded me of stars. I was going to use rhinestones. You could use those as well. I think those would look just as pretty. My husband liked the dots here, so that's what I went with. And that is our card. So I hope you enjoyed this card, and if you want to see more kid themed cards, check out my blog. I have a couple more posted using all kinds of different products from Stampin' Up. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more videos from me. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.